So last week on May 15 at the Fave Community Foundation meeting, a comment was made that a council member had raised this item. For transparency, I want to clarify that I was the one who brought it forward. As many of you know, I stepped down from my positions on the board because I believe that it was the best interest of the organizations. I continue to believe that abstaining from all voting as a board member in a nonprofit organization is the appropriate and ethical stance. My full explanation is available on my Facebook, or go to the city website under Government Agenda and Minutes. Look at the video on May 6th meeting for those interested. Agenda item number 11. We can respectfully disagree on this matter. However, I believe that serving in multiple roles, both within the foundation and as an elected city official, can create potential conflicts of interest and raise concern about internal control, undue influence, or favoritism. It's public knowledge that Councilmember Grandes is one of the founders, as he stated. So how do we get here?
You're welcome.
During April 17 Fave Community Foundation meeting, our risk analysis outlined several potential liability to city could face. At that meeting, Mr. Grandes, then speaking as a member of the public, commented, as a nonprofit organization, we should not be too worried because the city has deeper pockets. I respect his dedication to the foundation, but as a mayor, I have a duty to protect our city and its taxpayer. I could not ignore that comment. Speaking up was not easy, but remaining silent would have been wrong. When we have an MOU in place with a foundation, that means we have shared responsibility and risk.
Mr. Mayor.
Let me finish, please.
I thought you were.
So I ask that, because there's a lot of point I'm making here. So we look at the three top urgent risks. First one, potential legal liability to the city from nonprofit action under the MOU, lack of updated filing or good standing of the nonprofit with regulatory bodies, dual role of elected official creating real or perceived conflict of interest. Heather, can you bring up a slide, which is the city slide? Yes, please.
You know, instead of going through everything at once, you should give us an opportunity to address some of the items you brought as we go along.
I think I just want to say, everybody see the whole picture first, then you get, if you want to happen to bring up.
Well, I want to just mention, since, you know, we're waiting for a few things.
No, yeah, so it's up already.
The bottom line is when we, during last meeting, in administrative items, we were finalizing the change that was made to the Community Foundation Board. At that time, I brought up that I'd like to see an informational session, and then at the end of the meeting, I did bring up that about having this session here, and then you added on, you know, diving deeper financials and that sort of thing. So for full disclosure, that's what transpired.
That's correct.
All right.
So if this is a city website, this is open to the public. As you can see, we have city council, Fave Community Foundations, and so forth. Why is there no report beyond 2025 for this organization publicly?
We had a different website before that is now defunct, and we don't have all those old minutes and agendas, but we could be happy to share them with Rick. We have them all.
Yeah.
Okay. It should be one spot for able to look, so the people have to go.
I'd be happy to share that with
the
with
easy
Rick.
community. It's very hard to navigate. I'm just, people are asking me, so I have to throw some of those. I ask questions.
Yeah,
Like
we're
people are asking you for the minutes from an agenda from a nonprofit agent. Let's be real here.
Hold on. Let me speak first. People are asking, why is there no clarity in terms of information?
People are asking about clarity on the Community Found. The only one who's bringing up any of this is you.
That is your perception. That is fine. We talk about that the foundation is its own entity, right? Can you please bring up the Secretary of State? website. And if you could bring up the Found Valley Community Foundations. Search online. So if you click in, yes, click in there.
Yeah.
You go all the way on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side, look, right now, this foundation, the statement of information is due. It's not being updated. Click on the history. Click on 2020. Click download. Bring it down. Stop right there. From the intersection of these foundations, the address shows as a city address. Up into today, it still shows as a city address. To me, does not show its own entity and its own independency. If you click it down, farther down, Mr. Glenn Granish served as CFO while he was an elected official. That may constitute certain violations with a nonprofit organization. You can laugh all you want.
You're not an attorney.
I'm not.
You are not an attorney. You work in an attorney's office,
say you
but
can
you
look
are
into
not
it.
an attorney.
My point I'm trying to say is there's conflict of interest, perceived, and that might put the city in a situation
Okay,
that I'm concerned.
wait a minute. Can we go back to the first page? This is at the time of filing. Am I not correct
No.
on that?
No,
Okay.
This is in 2020.
2020. So in 20,
I already said I was the treasurer for
Yeah.
10 years of
Sure.
the foundation.
but on document with the Secretary of State is different. That's a CEO. That's not treasurer. And in 2021, it shows Mr. Grandis not being a CFO on the regular agenda, who on the board. But he was due on there until 2022. As you go back into this 2022,
What's your point?
my point is I want to make sure that we alleviate the city from the foundation of liability. That is my point. So
you know
I'm
what,
going back.
Ted,
So I'm
you,
going back. So hold
you
on.
quit the foundation
So,
board
let me finish.
unnecessarily,
So-
and now you're grabbing your ball and you're going home and making a deal because you're upset that somehow the mayor who assigned the committee to a director, that the board of directors expanded the board to put me back on because I've been on for 17 years. I've donated thousands of hours. I have vast knowledge of it, and you're hurt over this. You told me yourself you're hurt over it that we went around the mayor. You have to understand the mayor of our city is ceremonial. You are just a ceremonial position.
Let's kind of tone down the
You
rhetoric
could-
here. You guys, let's let the mayor finish what he wants to say, and then we can.
Basically, at this point, I'm trying to say it was the best interest of the foundation. I stepped down, but I must
I
reassess,
agree. It is
which is, let me allow my speaking, please, which is, I'm looking at the standpoint of the city liability and exposure when you made a statement that the city has a bigger pocket.
I don't know
Therefore,
what you're talking about.
well, I was there. There's people there. I'm not going, if you say, of course, at this point, if you want to deny, that's okay. If he chooses to deny, I recommend that every meeting is going to be recorded because we have an MOU. We have the right
I
to
think
be
you're
recorded.
taking, no,
because
I'm going to finish.
because you're stepping back.
You accused me of something. I think now it's come back. I think what you said was, could the city be sued in a certain circumstance? And the answer was no, because we have separation. And I made the comment of anybody could be sued. And you're right, the city does have deep pockets. So there always is a potential that we could be sued.
I already made statement exactly how it was coded.
Ed, you're wasting everybody's time.
This is the time for discussion. That is your opinion. Thank you. So that is the reason why. So I'm going back to my three core pillar. which is because I want to make sure that people don't lose the focal point of this conversation, is we really need to look at the potential legal liability to the city from a non-profit action under the MOU, lack of updating, filing, or good standing of the nonprofit with regulatory body, and dual role of elected official creating a real or perceived conflict of interest or undue influence or ethical. So that is the three key that we should have this discussion, and that is why we're here, and that's why I welcome everyone, their discussions. And if this body doesn't feel that way, which is totally okay, but at least the record will show if something should happen down the road, the record will show. That was the point I'm trying to make. It has nothing to do what he's trying to say, because I'm here as a role as a mayor. I have to look the liability of the city. That's all. Thank you.
You've been on this. You had your chance to talk. It's my turn now. You had 5 years on the city council to volunteer once with the Community Foundation. You chose not to. You have not volunteered once. The rest of it, even Councilmember Kaneen was a foundation board member for this. So everybody of us, Councilmember Constantine has volunteered quite a bit. You have not. And you are upset, and you told me you were upset that it was your impression that we were going around the authority of the mayor by having me go back on. Do you understand that we are spending untold hours of staff time and money for a volunteer organization that does good for the community? We have 20 people out here who are looking at you and saying, we are volunteers. We have done such good for our community. You said 2,000, I think somebody said over 2,000 volunteer hours. You know, let's go back and multiply that by 15 years of that. We're talking 30,000, if my math is right, volunteer hours at a value $50 an hour. You know, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars just in volunteer time, which you have done zero in 5 years on council. I'm not done talking. For you to bring all of this up, this was, Councilmember Constantine brought this back as a celebration for the foundation of a thank you for all that they do for our community. And you have taken it and turned it upside down. We have had a council member on the board for 17 years. Since the beginning. Gus Eyre was the first council member, and he was on. Steve Nagel is here. He was a council member, former mayor. He was on the board. Michael Vo was a council member. He was on the board. We've always had a council member on the board. Let me ask you, Colin, in 17 years that we've been doing this, how many lawsuits have there been?
None related to the foundation.
How many complaints, legal complaints, have come to the city over the foundation in 17 years?
None that I'm aware of.
So, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Non-lawyer mayor, you are trying to find a problem or solution to a problem that does not exist for a community foundation where these people roll up their sleeves, nobody gets paid, works hard, and you're trying to make some sort of, I don't know, you know, a lot of us were talking, what is your end game? What is your point?
Okay, first of all, you're saying that it's not because your analysis is because we're not being sued, doesn't mean we're not going to get sued. And if you ask that question to our city attorney, Mr. Attorney, if we have an MOU with the nonprofit, is there a risk of being sued for the city?
Sure.
There we go. So it's not
Is there a risk, hold on, is there a risk of being sued to the city if we didn't have the MOU?
Yes, for joint events.
Of course.
Yeah,
Which was what my point was. My point was they will always go, they could go after the deep pockets. That was the point that I made.
Let me